Okay, so good morning to all. We shall continue with our chapter antidepressants, which we had started in our earlier lectures. We already covered the definition of antidepressants, the classification of the drugs which are used as antidepressant, and also we had started with the pharmacology of the individual drugs. Like we had covered the class reversible inhibitors of MAO-A. Moclobemide was the drug which we have covered. Then the next class which we have seen is the TCAs, okay, that is tricyclic antidepressants. So we have seen the detailed pharmacology of this particular class as a whole. Okay, so we have seen over there that the main mechanism by which it acts is by inhibiting the reuptake of the monoamines, that is noradrenaline and 5-HT. Okay, so certain agents inhibit the reuptake of both these, or certain agents also predominantly inhibit the reuptake of noradrenaline. Okay, so basically by inhibiting their reuptake, they remain in the cleft for a longer period of time and they will get potentiated. Okay, so that's how TCAs act. But over there we have also seen that there is a lag time. Okay, because mere inhibition of the reuptake is not sufficient, but there are certain cascade of events which are further promoted, because of which it has a lag time of 2 to 3 weeks for them to show the action. So also they have so many adverse effects. Okay, so to overcome all these difficulties, new drugs were searched for to be used as antidepressants. So SSRIs came into picture. We have seen that all these disadvantages of the TCA class has been overcome by the SSRIs, that is selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. So they were selectively inhibiting the reuptake of serotonin. Okay, then came the next class. Again some new drugs were introduced. Okay, these inhibited the reuptake of serotonin as well as noradrenaline. Okay, so these were called as serotonin and noradrenaline reuptake inhibitors, popularly known as SNRIs. Now under TCAs also we have seen that they inhibit the reuptake of the same two monoamines. Okay, so though why not classify these two drugs under TCAs? Okay, so the reason why these two drugs, venlafaxine and duloxetine, is not classified under TCAs is that the major difference is the mechanism of action remains the same. They inhibit the uptake of these Na as well as 5-HT. But the major difference with the TCAs is that they do not interact with other receptors. We have seen under TCAs that TCAs interacted with so many other types of receptors: cholinergic, adrenergic, histaminergic, dopaminergic. Okay, because of the blockage of these receptors, so many adverse effects were precipitated by the TCAs. So these drugs, both these drugs, okay, we have started with the venlafaxine. Okay, mechanism remains the same, but this venlafaxine do not interact with these other receptors. Okay, that is cholinergic, adrenergic or histaminergic receptors are not blocked. Again, since it is not blocking histamine receptor, it does not have any sedative property, whereas we have seen with the TCAs they have prominent sedative property also. Okay, so also another advantage of this drug is that it has a faster onset of action. Okay, we have seen that there is a lag time with the TCAs, so that difficulty is overcome with this drug. It shows quick action. Okay, now apart from being effective as an antidepressant, this drug also is effective in the controlling the mood changes or hot flushes which may be associated with the menopausal syndrome. Okay, that is the women who are near to their menopause, they may show some mood changes. Okay, so those can be controlled by this venlafaxine. Apart from that, it is also effective in anxiety. It is having anti-anxiety property, or eating disorders also. Okay, and since there is no interaction with the other types of receptors, the usual side effects which are produced by TCAs, they are not shown by this drug venlafaxine. Okay, under TCAs we have seen that it produces the fall in BP. Okay, it depresses the BP. Okay, hypotension is produced, but over here this drug produces the rise in the BP. Okay, so it's quite different. Also, this drug is safer in overdose. TCAs we have seen that they are also not safe in the overdose, but this drug venlafaxine, it is safe in overdose also. No much problem is created, no much toxicity is produced by this particular agent. Coming to the side effects, these include nausea, sweating, then anxiety, dizziness, and impotence are the side effects which may be produced due to interference with the sexual behavior. Impotence may also be precipitated. Then coming to the next drug under this class, SNRIs, which was introduced, duloxetine. Okay, so this was a latest addition. Properties are similar to that of venlafaxine, what we have seen. It lacks the sedative property. It also does not have any anticholinergic or antihistaminergic property, or alpha blocking action is also absent with this particular drug. Side effects of this duloxetine, these include GI side effects, okay, like nausea, vomiting, or bowel upset may be produced. Then sexual problems may also be seen with this drug. Okay, but both these are mild. Okay, comparatively mild side effects are produced. Okay, but certain side effects like agitation may be produced, insomnia, that is lack of sleep, or rise in BP also can be precipitated. Okay, now this drug duloxetine, no doubt its antidepressant efficacy, it is comparable to that of TCS. Okay, so efficacy, if you compare the amount of action against that depression, is similar to that of the TCS. Apart from being used in the treatment of the depression, these also are helpful in treating the panic attacks, okay, or diabetic neuropathic pain. Okay, now this is a type of pain which is specifically seen because of neuropathy, that is damage to the neurons. Now actually, when do you feel the pain? Whenever there is some kind of stimulus, either it may be internal stimulus or it may be the external stimulus. Okay, but here there is no such stimulus present. Okay, now because of the diabetes, okay, the person is diabetic, so because of the persistent diabetic condition, the neurons, certain neurons in the body may get damaged. Okay, and because of these damaged neurons, they may precipitate painful stimulus in the areas where they are supplying. Okay, actually there is no stimulus for pain, but that pain is because of the neuropathy, damage to the neurons. Apart from that, it is also effective in fibromyalgia, that is pain in the muscles. Okay, so that can also be controlled by this drug. Apart from that, it is also effective in stress urinary incontinence in women. Okay, so because of the stressful condition, okay, maybe due to certain situations, or maybe the hormonal changes, there may be urinary incontinence, that is there may be loss of bladder control. Okay, or there may be difficulty in the urination. Okay, so that's because of the increase in the urethral tone. Then coming to the next and the last class, that is atypical antidepressants. Now here the first atypical antidepressant which was introduced was trazodone. Okay, now this drug acts by blocking the reuptake of 5-HT. Okay, so it is selective for blocking the reuptake of 5-HT. But if you consider the efficacy of blocking this 5-HT, it is less efficiently blocking the reuptake of 5-HT. Apart from this mechanism, it also has other actions like prominent alpha adrenergic blocking property or antagonistic property. Okay, and a weak 5-HT2 blocking property. And the antidepressant property is because of these actions, the later actions. Okay, then another property is that this drug has sedative property. Okay, but it does not have any anticholinergic property, so anticholinergic side effects can be ruled out. Okay, then it causes the bradycardia. Okay, that is decrease in the heart rate rather than tachycardia. We have seen under the TCS that they cause the tachycardia. Okay, but here this drug produces the bradycardia. So also intracardiac conduction, it is not interfered. Okay, so there is no change in the intracardiac conduction, or intraventricular conduction. So conduction defects may not be precipitated, that is arrhythmias may not be precipitated by these drug, or they are less prone to cause the arrhythmia, so that they are better suitable for the elderly or those who are already suffering from some kind of cardiovascular condition. Okay, then apart from that, it also has mild anxiolytic activity also, that is they have anti-anxiety property also. So also they can be benefited in the obsessive compulsive disorder also. Okay, so this condition can also be controlled apart from being used as an antidepressant. Okay, now coming to the side effects, it produces the inappropriate, prolonged and painful penile erection. Okay, that is in case of males, the erection of the penis which may be painful. Okay, so that condition is known as priapism. So because of this condition, it may interfere with the sexual behavior, okay, or intercourse, and there are chances that impotence may be precipitated in few of these persons who can suffer from this particular side effect. And basically this side effect is because of blockage of the alpha 1 adrenergic receptors. So also for the same reason, postural hypotension also is precipitated in with this particular trazodone. Okay, so because of this, the popularity of this drug has gone down. It is infrequently used now because of the availability of better drugs. Coming to the next drug, that is mianserin. Okay, now this drug also, under the introduction also, we had seen earlier in the earlier classes also, we have seen that this particular mianserin, okay, it does not inhibit the reuptake of either Na or 5-HT. Okay, now we have seen so far that the reuptake inhibition of Na or 5-HT or both is actually responsible for the antidepressant action. Okay, by inhibiting the transporters. Say for example, NET inhibition or blockage will result in inhibition of reuptake of Na. So it will remain here for a longer period of time and it will show its action. Similar way, SERT. Okay, that is a transporter for the reuptake of 5-HT. So inhibition of that transporter will keep the 5-HT similar to Na. It will also keep the 5-HT in the cleft, in the serotonergic neurons. Okay, so by potentiating of the action of both these amines, it was producing the antidepressant action. Okay, but here mianserin does not act by this mechanism. Rather, how it is acting? It acts by blocking the presynaptic alpha 2 receptors. Okay, alpha 2 receptors, these are autoreceptors, right? We have seen earlier that these alpha 2 receptors, under TCS we have seen that initially, because of inhibition of this transporter, these Na 5-HT will remain in the cleft for a longer period of time. So they can also act over here on the alpha 2 receptor. Na will act on alpha 2 receptor, and alpha 2 receptor, when stimulated, it inhibits the release of Na. So that's why there is a delay in the action. So initially it will decrease the release of Na over here. Okay, but here what mianserin is doing, it is blocking the presynaptic alpha 2 autoreceptors. So these alpha 2 receptors, which when stimulated, it results in inhibition of release. But here mianserin is blocking these alpha 2 receptors. So because of blockage of these alpha 2 receptors, what will happen is this inhibition will also be blocked. So rather there will be increase in the release of noradrenaline in the cleft. Okay, so that is the main mechanism of action. It is increasing the release as well as the turnover of Na, that is synthesis may also be increased of noradrenaline. Okay, apart from that, it is also showing antagonistic action on the serotonergic receptors, that is 5-HT2 or 5-HT1C. So also histaminergic H1 receptors can also be blocked, and this is responsible for its sedative property also, and for the same reason it is also having anti-anxiety property also. It relieves the associated anxiety also and suppresses the panic attacks also. So these are the additive actions. Apart from being an antidepressant, they can also relieve the associated anxiety and panic attacks also. Okay, then the anticholinergic and the cardiac side effects, these are also less prominent with the use of mianserin. However, in overdose, seizures may be precipitated, and the major problem which has restricted its use is the blood dyscrasias and liver dysfunction. Okay, blood dyscrasias meaning the change in the number of blood cells. Okay, so there may be changes, alterations in the number of blood cells, so their levels may be altered. Okay, so such condition may be precipitated, or liver dysfunction. These are the major limitation with the use of mianserin. Then the next drug is mirtazapine. Okay, now this drug also acts by a novel mechanism, that is, it also is not inhibiting the reuptake of these Na or 5-HT, but rather it blocks the alpha 2 autoreceptors as well as heteroreceptors. Okay, now what is this autoreceptor and heteroreceptor? Now, as we have seen that these alpha 2 receptors, okay, these are present presynaptically on the adrenergic neuron. This is an adrenergic neuron, right? So alpha 2 is an adrenergic receptor. So adrenergic receptor which is present on the adrenergic neuron, okay, so it is the same type of receptor present on the same type of neuron. So that's why it is known as auto. Auto means self. Okay, so alpha 2 receptors which are found on the Na neurons, these are known as autoreceptors. Whereas here why it is known as heteroreceptors, that's because these alpha 2 receptors are present on the 5-HT neurons, that is serotonergic neurons also have these alpha 2 receptors. Now here it is a serotonergic neuron, okay, and the type of receptor present on that is the alpha 2 receptor, which is an adrenergic receptor. Okay, that's why it is known as the heteroreceptor. Okay, so this drug mirtazapine blocks these alpha 2 auto as well as heteroreceptors. Okay, so by blocking of these alpha 2 receptors, what will happen? When alpha 2 receptors are stimulated, release is inhibited. Okay, so by blockage of these alpha 2 receptors, the release will be enhanced. Okay, so it will enhance both the Na as well as 5-HT release, because it is blocking the alpha 2 receptors on the Na neurons also, and alpha 2 receptors which are present on the 5-HT neurons also. Okay, and further this augmented Na, it also increases the firing of the serotonergic raffineurons also via the alpha 1 receptors. Okay, so further it will enhance the serotonergic action. Okay, apart from that, due to the blockage of this 5-HT2 and 5-HT3 receptors, concurrently it will also produce the enhancement of the 5-HT1 receptor. So this is responsible for the antidepressive action. Okay, so these actions on the serotonergic receptors are also responsible for the adverse effects of these particular drug also. Okay, so accordingly, because of these actions which are produced, this drug is labeled as noradrenergic and specific serotonergic antidepressant. NASSA is the name given to this particular drug. Okay, then it also has H1 blocking property also. Okay, so because of that it will have sedative property, but anticholinergic or antidopaminergic property is absent. Okay, and if you can see the uses, it is used in the mild as well as severe depression. The action is comparable to that of TCS. Again, the side effects include appetite increase. Okay, so eating may be increased, so because of that weight gain may be a problem. Okay, and the next drug is bupropion. This is an inhibitor of Na and dopamine uptake. Okay, so it acts by inhibiting the reuptake of dopamine as well as Na. Okay, so it potentiates the action of dopamine as well as noradrenaline. Okay, so it has an excitant property. Again, due to metabolism, an active metabolite is also generated. Okay, it's similar to that of amphetamine. Okay, amphetamine, we have seen that it is a psychostimulant agent. Okay, so it produces a metabolite which is similar to that of amphetamine. Now this metabolite causes the presynaptic release of dopamine and Na. So it is enhancing the release of dopamine and noradrenaline. Okay, so again it is potentiating the action. So both bupropion as well as the the active metabolite. Both are producing or potentiating the action by different mechanism of action. Okay, now this particular drug bupropion, okay, it is rather than being used as an antidepressant, it is being promoted for the use in the smoking cessation. Okay, in the form of sustained release formulation. This is used as an aid to smoking cessation. So those who smoke constantly, if they are motivated to leave the habit, okay, so this drug can be given for them to help cessation of smoking or stoppage of the smoking. Okay, so generally it's not easy to leave this habit, okay, because nicotine which is found in the tobacco, which is present in that cigarette, okay, so that gives the reward function. That's because of the dopamine. Okay, nicotine causes the release of dopamine, and that's responsible for the reward function. Now similar reward function is also given by this bupropion also. We have seen this under the drugs which are acting on the autonomic nervous system. Drugs acting on autonomic ganglia, we had covered that under under the ANS chapter. Okay, so nicotine in the form of nicotine patch or Nicotex, which is a chewing gum, so it is given to the person who wants to quit this habit. Okay, so along with that nicotine patch, okay, this particular drug bupropion also is effective. It has similar action. Clinical trials have seen that there are better rates of quitting the smoking as compared to placebo. Okay, and it is more effective, that is, it shows better results when it is combined with the nicotine patch. Okay, so also nicotine withdrawal symptoms can also be controlled by this particular bupropion. So when bupropion is given, these withdrawal symptoms are less severe. However, long-term efficacy is not known, and side effects like insomnia, agitation, dryness of mouth, and nausea may be precipitated. So also in overdose, seizures may be precipitated. It can lower the seizure threshold, and seizures, epileptic seizures, may be precipitated. So dose should not exceed 150 milligrams bis daily. Okay, and also it is contraindicated in eating disorder or bipolar illness, and sometimes it is combined with the SSRIs also. Okay, and the next drug is tianeptine. Tianeptine is an antidepressant drug. Okay, but it is unusual in that the mechanism of action is quite different. Okay, now usually we have seen that the reuptake is inhibited. Okay, but this drug tianeptine, it is increasing the reuptake of 5-HT rather than inhibiting it. Okay, it is increasing the reuptake. Okay, and it is neither sedative nor a stimulant. Okay, so it shows the effectiveness in anxiodepressive states as well as in the endogenous depression also, and the side effects include dryness of mouth, epigastric pain, flatulence, that is passage of gases, drowsiness or insomnia may be seen, both are possible. Okay, then tremors, okay, fine tremors may be seen, or body ache, that is pain. Okay, then the next drug is amineptine. This is also similar to that of tianeptine. It also enhances the uptake of 5-HT, but still it has antidepressant property. Okay, then it produces anticholinergic side effects also. So side effects like tachycardia, confusion or delirium may be seen, postural hypotension or conduction defects in the heart. Okay, cardiac conduction defects, so that arrhythmias may be precipitated, especially in the elderly patients or those who are suffering from heart disease. Then the next drug is atomoxetine. This is also a selective NA reuptake inhibitor, but rather than being used as an antidepressant, it is mainly used for the treatment of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. This disorder is seen specifically in small children. Okay, so there is a difficulty to pay attention in such children. Okay, so they cannot concentrate and they are hyperactive. Okay, usually they cannot sit quiet at one place, so they are quite hyperactive. So such children, this drug may be utilized. Then this finishes the class, and coming to the last part, that is the uses. Okay, so the first and the very important use of these drugs is endogenous or major depression. Then the next use is obsessive compulsive disorder of phobic states can also be controlled. Then certain drugs also have anti-anxiety properties, so anxiety disorders can also be controlled. Then certain drugs also can control the neuropathic pain, that is pain due to the damage of the neuron. Then attention deficit hyperactivity disorder in children, that we have seen just now, atomoxetine is a drug. Then next uses enuresis, that is bedwetting. Specifically this is seen in the small children. Generally with the advent of the age they learn to control the bladder, but then this is a loss of control over the bladder, due to which bedwetting may be seen. Okay, so this is generally occurring at the night times, and nocturnal enuresis it is commonly known as. So this can also be benefited. Then migraine treatment also can be done, because most of the drugs are affecting the serotonergic system also over here, so they also can be effectively used in the treatment of migraine. And the next use is pruritus. Pruritus is a severe itching sensation, scratching sensation in certain part of the body, so it's an hypersensitivity reaction. Since most of the drugs have H1 antihistaminic property, pruritus can be controlled. And the last use is premature ejaculation. Okay, so those individuals who suffer from premature ejaculation, because of which impotence may generally be precipitated, so such a premature ejaculation can also be delayed by this particular drugs. Okay, so this finishes the chapter. Coming to the important questions under this chapter, antidepressants classification, of course it can be asked. Okay, and along with it additional question may also be asked, or 2 marks question of only classification may be seen in the question papers. Apart from that, a note on any of the classes may be seen, like RIMAs or TCAs or SSRIs or SNRIs or atypical antipsychotics. It may be added to this question. Or other questions like advantages of SSRIs over the TCAs. We have seen so many advantages are there. Okay, then the uses of antidepressant, you can elaborate a little bit over what we have seen. 1 or 2 lines can be added. So uses of antidepressants can also be added to this question.